Thank y'all. Wow, it's just so great to be seen and to see others, right? I'm Merritt from South Carolina, compulsive eater, bulimic, anorexic. But I do what y'all do to stay clean and sober around the food. I weigh and measure off the gray sheet as it's written, call it into my sponsor, occasionally text it, and do at times call it into other folks. Most important thing is that we are here, and for today, I'm going to go bed clean. That is my commitment. Whew, what a wild little journey it's been. What do? We share our experience, strength, and hope. Um, I had the pleasure of being introduced to 12 steps when I was a sophomore in college. Not that was the only time that I had to, you know, surrender. That I came through pretty much the beverage program, but the truth of the matter is that food has been and continues to be my core issue. But the lovely part about that experience and what I wanted to share with y'all tonight about that is I walked into it was an old post office that had been closed, and they were meeting there on Friday nights. And as you can imagine, this was in Tennessee, kind of in the mountains, and just think prohibition. If you want, like, the people that were being there probably made their own stuff. And here I walked in, and I was a sophomore in college, and this man who has gone on to our heavenly host named Frank walked up to me and he said, "Ma'am, what you doing here?" And I said, "I don't know, but I need help." And he looked at me and he said, "You are in the right place for anything that separates you from God." Now, I didn't really know what that meant at that time because my issue was food, but he was right on. And so I hung around those rooms and I didn't pick up a drink. And they kept telling me it doesn't matter. Just don't pick up what it is that you know, typically pick up that separates you from God. And those sweet people found OA for me. So I would drive down the mountain and go to OA. And I stayed in OA for a good long time. And that was a good place to start. I can't remember a time when food was not my issue. I don't come from really large numbers. I can't, for my size, I've been pretty large. Um, and I've been down to 88 pounds. So I've been the whole gamut. Um, eh, and I think the thing that food was my friend, it was my comforter, um, and maybe like y'all, it was the thing that helped me do things that I didn't think I could do. I wasn't, I didn't lose a lot. My problem is I've always been pretty much successful, if I want to be honest. And I had a lot of responsibility on me for a lot of years and did not know how to ask for help or handle those responsibility. I was an overachiever and over over anything. Let's just put over anything, fill in the blank, whatever you want to fill it in the blank with. Um, and even if I was having a great week, I would have to come home and just numb because I would need some of the things that we don't eat because I didn't know what to do with myself. That discomfort of just being me. I always felt like everybody else got in the right line and I got in the wrong line. And I didn't know why, and I didn't know how. Um, but I know this room has taught me, or these rooms have taught me that sometimes we get to ask why and sometimes we don't. But the thing that we do is what am I going to do today? And that's my food. That's call my sponsor. That's reach out to other people. And somehow there's some magic in that little mix. And sometimes the whys will reveal themselves and sometimes not. Um, but I have lots of tools today. I wrote down a couple things that I just wanted to make sure that I talk about today. Um, so I've been around 12 steps for a long time. Doesn't mean that I've got back-to-back abstinence, but you know what I know today is that doesn't matter. Do I want that? Would I love that? Absolutely. But I've never left 12 steps. And I know that Gray Sheet is the answer for me. I know that I'm still learning, and that's why today is 90 days. Thank you, God. Um, and I've had more time than that. But the 12 steps is just the answer for me. I take very seriously the how of this program, the honesty, the openness, and the willingness. Because those three things I didn't really know much about. I had to learn through sponsorship what honesty meant when I first got the sponsor that I have right now. And sometimes I don't think she even remembers doing this, but it was so crazy. I would say something to her and she'd say, "Oh, and what's the barrier to gray sheet? What are you resisting?" She kept coming back as, "What are you resisting?" And I was like, "I'm not resisting anything." I get the same thing because I kind of still, even in early, my worst binges have happened when I've been in gray sheet because I had one foot out the door and one foot in the door, or I was still had some reservations, or I still um, wanted some part of this on my timeline or my way. And she helped me root down some pretty brass tacks about what was it I was resisting and what was it really going on. And so that honesty and the openness to really have a relationship with a sponsor and the willingness to keep showing up. I mean, y'all, like we're here. Like that's a freaking miracle. I don't know. Do y'all ever step back and go, like, we're still doing this? I mean, Jolene, you just celebrated all these years. That is so super cool, right? And that that we still keep coming back. And food might not be my number one thing today. It didn't call my name today, but I have a chance of living today if I do what y'all keep telling me to do. Showing up, working the steps, asking for help, being of service in and out of these programs. Um, I can't believe it. Can't believe that this works like it does. Um, the physical aspect for me, I surrender wholeheartedly. Gray sheet arrest the cravings. Gray sheet puts food in the proper place. Gray sheet, something about 4.0 is absolutely divinely inspired, and it is the most sacred act I take every day. Um, the spiritual piece for me, um, I do pick up the tools of prayer and meditation. One of the things I've learned in this last 90 days is a word. I knew about it, but I didn't really know how it meant for me is regulation. I am so unregulated, even even abstinent. And because I do too much and I don't know what's enough. So prayer, meditation, writing, stillness, making a to-do list, and then cutting it in half are really important for me to stay clean. Um, I have very specific transitions when I come home from work. I work long hours. I I change my clothes immediately. I light a candle. I sit down before I do anything else because my head will tell me, go, 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 do. It's okay. And for a while in Gray Sheet that worked until I couldn't anymore. And then I didn't know how to cope and I needed food or I grabbed food, I thought. So I'm learning to pace to, as somebody told me early on, is that two-step of 12 steps, which is do and be. And it's got to be an equal, beautiful dance. Can't always be doing, and I can't always just be chilling. It's a beautiful waltz. And it is that graceful rhythm that when I feel my best, when I'm able to give back to others, be present for others, and be present for myself. Um, Am I perfect? Oh my gosh. No, but I have tools today and I'm able to give myself compassion and grace and lots of mercy. Let's just be clear about that one too. Um, so the physical piece, what is so nice is I am packing to go on a trip this weekend and I'm going to pull out the same summer clothes that I wore last year. I mean, halla freaking Luya. Let's just say that one, right? Like, I don't have to worry about that. I don't have to worry about that. That is a miracle. That is a miracle to just lay that down so that my little brain can then focus on something higher, more important, hopeful, more loving than that. Um, the spirit, the mental and the emotional piece, I just want to make a plug for sponsorship. I have a sponsor that I know is sponsored. I've been a sponsor. I hope to be a sponsor again. That relationship is my anchor. I can actually, it's a barometer, it's an anchor, it's a buoy, it's a life raft, it's a jumping off pad. It is the safe, sacred place, and one that I hold dear to my heart, but also have come to know how privileged I am to be a part of a fellowship that believes in that kind of relationship, that we can give to each other so freely what we've been given, and not to give more than we know how to do, but to be honest about where we are. Um, and that goes along with the steps. I mean, today, when I have issues, right, we pause, we ask God for help. I ask somebody else occasionally. Sometimes it takes me a little bit, but I do. And then what do? I write down those columns. What's my part in it? What happened? What did it affect? Where's the turnaround? Where can this go? What character defect did it reveal? And how can I give it to God and then move on? Make amends as necessary. Um, because I want peace today more than I want anguish and turmoil and the the dysfunction of uh, just being in self-pity or judgment or resentment or all of those big ones for me. So, you know, it's amazing that never thought that this is where I could find the answers to not only my food problem, not only my weight problem, not only my confidence issues, but kind of my life issues, right? And a beautiful fellowship. You know, though I don't know all of y'all, I've known some of y'all for a good little bit. And what a privilege that is to see us each grow, welcome it wherever we are, that acceptance, and to know that when I click on a Zoom meeting, someone's going to be here. And that is really amazing. So that kind of is another plug for not only sponsorships and steps, but the fellowship for stewardship to freely give back of time, talent, and monetarily. Like, y'all, I didn't have to go. I mean, it's cool if I did, but I didn't. I didn't have to go, and this was freely given to me. And I feel very passionate about doing what I can when I can. And so, all of that. Something super cool I've learned lately, and I don't know how close I am to time. So, I want to share with y'all something that I've been incorporating for about 2 weeks. Okay. So this is a new thing, and maybe you like it, maybe you don't, but it's keeping me real honest and real open and real willing. So here are my 4 Gs. They're called the 4 Gs. You might know about them, but I really like them. So here's the first one, to write down something that I'm grateful for. That's the first G. Not a new one. That's no surprise, right? Gratitude changes everything. For a while there, I was writing 18 things minimal a day for gratitude. Someone told me that 18 was a magic number, right? We do things, I don't, stand on your head and recite the alphabet upside down. I would have done it to stay out of the food, right?
You have
So,
just 1 minute left, Merritt.
ah, thank you so much, Chris. So, gratitude, that's my first G. The second G is something I'm good at. Like, right? Y'all, we're good at things, right? No more flogging myself. I'm good at something. Doesn't mean I'm arrogant, but we all have good stuff. So, something I'm good for, grateful, good at. Then something that is a glitch. Maybe something I want to work on today. Maybe didn't go well yesterday. Maybe that's a review from a 10 step, but maybe just something that's kind of gnawing at me. And then the fourth one, which I love, is a simple goal for the day. Now, quite frankly, lately has been go to bed abstinent. We get that. Go to bed abstinent, make some phone calls, write my food down, eat what I plan what I eat. but it might also be something else. And those four little G's have just carved out a little framework for this little complicated mind to keep things real simple. And boy, I like simple, y'all. So thanks for letting me share. Grateful to be with you, grateful to be one of you. And there is no better place than to be abstinent and gray sheet. Thanks so much.